Welcome to the Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. This is Dr. Lakshmi Devamma MM, Associate Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Government Engineering College, Kushalnagar. Today I am going to talk about the second module of Fluid Power Engineering, that is 18 ME 55. In this, that is, we are going to study the pumps and actuators. As you know that the pump is a device which is used as the heart of the hydraulic system, because which converts the mechanical energy of the flowing fluid into hydraulic energy. The mechanical energy is so delivered to the pump using a prime mover such as the electric motors. Due to the mechanical action, the pump creates a partial vacuum at the inlet, which permits the atmospheric pressure to force the fluid through the inlet line and into the pump. The pump is then pushes the fluid into the hydraulic system. Then when it comes to the actuators, that is here we are going to study about the type selection, etc. As I told, the pump is heart of hydraulic system, which converts mechanical energy into hydraulic energy. The mechanical energy is so delivered to the pump is usually used to run the prime movers. And here when it also permits the pressure to force the fluid through the inlet line and into the pump. The pump then pushes the fluid into the hydraulic system. When it comes to the classification of pumps are classified mainly of two types. One is positive displacement pump and the other one is non-positive displacement pumps. The non-positive displacement pumps are also called as dynamic pumps. In the dynamic pump, which are used for low pressures and also the high volume applications, because of its incapability of withstanding high pressures, they are of little use in the fluid power system. Normally the maximum pressure capacity is say about 250 to 300 psi, and usually this type of pumps are used for transporting fluids from one point to the other point. There are two most common types of dynamic pumps, that is axial and centrifugal pumps. Some of the merits of this thing, that is, these pumps are usually lower in cost, simplicity, and very much reliable. Then the next classification is positive displacement pumps. The example for this is usually the reciprocating pump. That is, positive displacement pumps are of two types. One is fixed displacement, the other one is variable displacement. When it comes to fixed displacement pumps, the amount of fluid ejected per revolution, that is cannot be varied. That means the displacement of the pump or displacement of the fluid is fixed. So you cannot vary the displacement, or hence the name called fixed displacement. When it comes to variable displacement pumps, the displacement can be varied by changing certain physical parameters or physical relationships of various pump elements. This changes the pump displacement, produces change in pump flow output even though pump speed remains the constant. Some of the comparisons or distinguishes between the positive and non-positive displacement pumps I would like to highlight here. That is, positive displacement pumps are over non-positive displacement pumps, or they can operate at very high pressures up to say 800 bars. That is for lifting oil from very deep oil wells, in case of water, in case of bore wells, etc. And also they can achieve a very high volumetric efficiency up to say 98%, and they are highly efficient and almost constant throughout the designed pressure ranges. So the pressure ranges will be designed as based on the functional requirement. When it comes to these pumps, positive displacement pumps, which are almost constant throughout this process. These are compact in size and having high power to weight ratio. Let's go for pumping theory of positive displacement pumps. You can observe the pumping theory of positive displacement pumps from this figure. You can observe here the pumps operates on the principle where the partial vacuum pressure is created at the pump inlet due to the internal operation of the pump, that is due to the small vacuum pressure is created, that is in the suction side of the pump. Because of this, internal that is which creates that is when the pump operates, a very small amount of pressure has been developed. This small amount of pressure itself allows the atmospheric pressure to push the fluid out of the tank or the reservoir, so that the pump intake will be taking place. The pump then mechanically pushes the fluid out of the discharge line. So you can observe from the figure here, that is when the piston moves from left hand side to right hand side, that is from cap end to rod end, and turn the rod end to cap end and cap end to rod end. Here movement of the piston from cap end to rod end or rod end to cap end will be taking place through the high pressurized oil when it comes to single acting cylinder, whereas in that is return or retraction will be taking place with the help of either spring loaded or dead weight or gravity in case of single acting cylinder. Whereas in the double acting cylinders, that is extension and retraction of the cylinder from rod end to cap end and cap end to rod end, and due to the highly pressurized oil. In case of pumping theory of positive displacement pumps is further, that is as the piston moves to the left, as I told, that is from rod end, a partial vacuum is created in the pump chamber that holds the outlet valve in place against its seal and reduces or in turn induces flow from the reservoir, that is at a higher levels. At the same time, the flow is produced, the inlet valve is temporarily displaced by the force of fluid, permitting the flow into the pumping chamber, that is in the suction stroke. Whereas when the piston moves to the right, that is from rod end to the cap end or cap end to the rod end, the resistance, that is this resistance, or in other words the resistance at the valves causes an immediate increase in the pressure that forces the inlet valve against its seat and opens the outlet valve, thereby permitting the fluid to flow into the system. If the outlet port opens directly to the atmosphere, the only pressure developed is one that required to open the outlet valve, that is nothing but delivery stroke. As I told, in case of single acting cylinder, the sucking the fluid due to the pressurized oil, and return stroke is due to the gravity force, whereas in the double acting cylinder, the extension and retraction, that is movement of the piston from rod end to cap end and cap end to rod end, will be taking place with the help of a highly pressurized fluid. When it comes to further classification of this one is before that I would like to tell you about the advantages of positive displacement pumps and non-positive displacement pumps. Here is positive displacement pump and non-positive displacements I would like to tell you. That is they can operate at positive displacement pumps, they can operate at say about pressure of up to 800 bars, whereas and also it produces a high volumetric efficiency as I told earlier. Let's go for positive displacement pump classification, or nothing but classification of positive displacement pumps. When it comes to classification of positive displacement pumps, the positive displacement pumps are classified into three types. One is gear pump, and the other one is vane pump, the third one is piston pump. When it comes to gear pump, that is it is of two types. One is external gear pump, the other one is internal gear pump. That means here external gear pump is one in which the two gears are meshing externally, and whereas in the internal gear pump the meshing of the gear tooth will be internal. That is the internal gear pump will have one gear inside the other, and those two gears will be separated by a small seal called crescent seal. When it comes to vane pumps, it is of two types. One is balanced vane pump, the other one is unbalanced vane pump. The balanced vane pump is one where the inlet pressure of the fluid as well as outlet pressure of the fluid, that is will be balanced. That means that is inlet force and the outlet force, or pressure of the fluid inside the in the inlet as well as the outlet will be equal. Then we call it as balanced vane pump, that is the flow should be balanced. When it comes to unbalanced vane pump, the inlet pressure may be more than the outlet pressure, where it cannot be balanced. So that is called unbalanced vane pump. This unbalanced vane pump can be balanced by replacing certain physical parameters or physical parts, by changing the convex shape or concave the convex ring or concentric rings. Concentric rings can be used, or that is one. The other one we can go for two inlets and two outlets where the pressure of the fluid gets balanced. When it comes to piston pumps, it is of two types, that is axial piston pump and radial piston pump. That is, in the axial piston pump, the flow of the fluid is parallel to the axis of the cylinder, whereas in the radial pump, the flow of the fluid is perpendicular to the axis of the shaft. Let's go for gear pumps. As I told, it is of two types. Gear pumps, there are two types, that is external gear pump and internal gear pump, and also explain what is the major difference between the gear external and internal gear pump. Now let's go for external gear pump. In the external gear pumps, these external gear pumps are mostly used in hydraulic pumps where we need the low pressure ranges due to their long operating life and high efficiency and low cost. The external gear pumps consist of pump housing in which a pair of precisely machined meshing gears runs the minimal radial and axial clearances. One of the gear here we call it as driver gear, the other one is driven gear. The driver gear drives the driven gear. This is also called as the driver drives the another gear called follower. As the teeth of the two gears are separate, the fluid from the pump inlet gets trapped between the rotating gear cavities and also the pump housing. The fluid so trapped is then carried out the periphery of the flow, causing the delivery to the outlet port. The teeth of the precisely meshed gears provide almost perfect seal between the teeth, between the pump inlet and the pump outlet. So internal gear pumps. In the internal gear pump, you can observe from the figure, there is a crescent seal. Here also two gears are meshed internally over the other. So these two gears are separated by a small seal called crescent seal. So the internal gear pump consists of an external gear and an internal gear. Here also, as I told, there is a separation by a crescent seal. When the pump operates, the internal gear drives the external gear and both the gears rotate in the same direction. The fluid fills the cavities, that is in the periphery here, formed by the rotating teeth and the stationary crescent seal. Both the gears transport the fluid throughout the pumping. The crescent seals, crescent seals are the low pressure pump inlet from the high pressure pump outlet. These pumps have higher pressure capabilities than the external gear pumps. So you can observe here inlet and the outlet. That's how the fluid enter into the pump casing. Here there is a impeller. And gears are arranged in such a way that one inside the other. There is a crescent seal as for fluid enter into the system, that is in the casing, and it is due to the rotation of the impeller. The impeller shaft, definitely the gears are rotates and fluid moves are all around the gears in between. That at certain point of time, small vacuum pockets will be formed, which will be destructed for the second round movement of the second rotation of the gears. It gets burst out. Therein large amount of energy will be released. Low pump. Low pump is operates at the same principle as the external gear pump, but it has a high displacement because of its large volume blades. It consists of only three blades. You can observe here the spacing here is very high. Okay, so very few number of teeth, say for example 3 on each gear. It has more advantages than both the internal and external gear. So here you can observe it. Pass medium fluids, no metal contact will be there because here less number of teeth. Positive section and non-pulsating discharges. When it comes to disadvantages, that is timing gears. It requires timing gears, and also the seals. There are two types of seals it needed. It reduces the lift within the liquids. Piston pumps. So as I told, the piston pumps are of two types. That is two types here. One is axial piston pump, that is a radial piston pump. When it comes to axial piston pump, it has two types again: swash plate type piston pump and bent axis type. That is swash plate is one where it is fixed to certain angle. Bent axis is one that is it will be fixed to a certain angle, that is which can be vary based on the functional requirement. Thank you.